other network at the same rate of 10 pesos per minute. That's not all, oh. Share your scratch card with 2 more people the Kikimi style, and the 3 of you will each enjoy 10 times the value of your card. Dial *135# to subscribe. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Hey, Yunchi. I noticed that all the national stadia in Ghana have lasted for decades.
Oh, yes. But do you also know that the concrete bridges are also decades old?
Yes.
Only one company in Ghana can give you that guarantee, and that is Gasem.
Cement that guarantees smooth finishing of plastering.
That is the Gasem Super Rapid 32.5R. If you want to have strong blocks for any form of construction, use Gasem Super Strong 42.5R. For your time-tested bridges like the Adome, multi-story buildings, highways like the motorway, then it is Gasem Extra 42.5N.
And the good news is, all these cement products are made right here in Ghana.
Gasem, 3 cement grades, unique quality. Gasem, the nation builder.
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Thanks for staying with us here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's still News Night with me, Emefa Apao. Let's get details now. Tonight, a case of a disaster management body in crisis. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is battling internal disasters of its own, as some indiscretion on the part of some of its staff has left the organization caught up in a row over expired cooking relief items. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, over the weekend, led a government delegation to present relief items to victims of devastating floods in parts of the Upper West region, some of which we now know were actually expired. Some beneficiaries of the relief items told my colleague Rafiq Salam they fell ill after consuming some of the products. Well, NADMO today is taking full responsibility for the gaffe, and some of its officials are already taking the fall for it. We'll hear the latest from an emergency meeting between the national officials of NADMO and staff of the organization in the region. But here's Communications Director George Ayisi, who told host of Super Morning Show Daniel Dazi earlier an investigation had been launched into the matter.
We had to load the items onto a vehicle and move them to the point for donation. In the process of loading, some items had been identified as expired and then separated in the warehouse. And unfortunately, 6 cartons of the oil were loaded onto the vehicle unknowing to the stores manager.
Why did we not discard them at that time, and why did we keep them till now?
We are a government agency and our funding is from the government, and so processes must be followed. When you identify that the items are expired, you separate them and then notify the internal auditor. The internal auditor then comes to ascertain that indeed they are expired and gives you the clearance to dispose of them. And so that had not been done yet. And the regions don't have internal auditors. And so that's how come the items were still in the warehouse as of the time they were being loaded.
How were they mixed up with the items that were going to be donated?
In the same warehouse, the stores manager will tell the boys who load the items onto the vehicle that load these items, and he must be sure that indeed the items that are being taken from the warehouse are actually loaded onto the vehicle. And so he goes to and fro. In the process, the boys that were loading, some strayed and thought those items were part of the items that they were supposed to load onto the vehicle. That's how come he alerted us, and we took full responsibility that indeed it came from our side. The mistake or the fault happened from our side. The Director General is leading a team which includes our Chief Accountant and our Director for Disease Epidemics. We are all here. And Deputy Director General for Operations, Abu Ramadan. We are all moving to work to see the situation. If there's a need for a probe to be done into the whole situation, we will do that. And if it's as a result of the negligence of somebody, we will not hesitate to do the proper thing.
We'll bring you the latest from that issue shortly. But the issue has generated a groundswell of condemnation on and off social media, with many calling for the head of NADMO officials in the region. Now, a member of Parliament's Health Committee, Joseph Yeletre, is one of those pushing for sanctions against NADMO over the donation of these expired relief items. He spoke to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.
If there is a disaster and you want to go and assist the victims of this disaster, you don't worsen their plight by giving them something that will kill them fast. Unfortunately, it has been done, and what I can say is that the Vice President is taking the blame because he handed over the item. Now,
it's actually NADMO which is taking the blame, and they are absorbing the Vice
President. No, it cannot. Is that because if the thing had gone well, the political outcome would have been good for the Vice President. So if you were seeking to get political goodwill and it turned out to be bad, he can be blamed also. These things are done. First, there is so much politicization. I believe people want to sabotage the Vice President in case there is a room for him to become president. So they associate from within. Can it be from outside? Now, what needs to be clear is that any time a high-profile person is involved in a thing like this, you must make sure that whatever he is donating is proper and good.
So you heard the Member of Parliament's Health Committee, Joseph Yeletre. Meanwhile, Chairman of Government Assurance Committee in Parliament, Yao Frimpong, has parried the minority's position. He says Dr. Bawumia could not have inspected all the items personally before distributing them.
So the Vice President is an officer who went there to present things that an institution had gathered, put together. How would he know that some of those things are expired? We should respect authority. I mean, this one is straightforward. If he had gone to NADMO to tell them that pack these things and I brought them, so let us go, that would be different. But this one, NADMO packed everything and he just went and performed an official duty. So why would he be held responsible for something he didn't know a thing about? And I'm even sure the things were in boxes. How would he know that this one has expired?
But as leader, he should have, double checked and ensure that some of these things are rightfully.
In fact, there are institutions who should do that. So if those institutions did not do that, I don't think it is the duty of the Vice President. Look, this is the second highest office holder in this country. So you won't need to go and bend down and check the expiry dates on this. It's absurd. I mean, to say the least. We should hold the institution responsible.
So you have the Chairman of Government Assurance Committee in Parliament, Yao Frimpong. Let's head to the region now and speak to the Deputy Director General of NADMO, Abu Ramadan, joining us here on Newsnight. Thank you very much for your time, Abu Ramadan. So I understand that you had to cut short your trip and go back to the Upper West region to find out for yourself what actually happened. So what did you find?
Currently, the decision of the leadership of NADMO is that one, a query has been issued to the regional director for him to respond, to explain to us the happenings, how come that incident occurred. Secondly, the regional stores manager has also been temporarily suspended whilst a committee is being set up to investigate the whole issue. So that is the position we've taken. The organization has taken responsibility, and through administrative processes, would make sure that whoever is found culpable for this sort of this act would be dealt with.
So this store supervisor, for instance, why has he been suspended? What was established against him?
Yeah, in the interim, to allow for investigations to be done, because the items certainly were in the custody of the store manager, and it is the responsibility of the manager of the store to make sure that every item that goes out of the store is of wholesome value. And for that matter, if he, the store manager, couldn't supervise that to be done, then in the interim he's been asked to step aside so that investigation is conducted. If there are no adverse findings against him, certainly he'll be reinstated. If not, sanctions will be taken against any other person who is found to be culpable in this particular instance.
So how soon are they expected to actually respond to the query? For instance, because you talked about a probe also that will be commenced. How soon are we going to see that?
The response to the query would be sent to the committee that the Director General has put together, and hopefully from tomorrow, or starting from Monday, the committee will sit and from what the directives of the Director General would be given a 2 weeks period to investigate that.
But we're told you were supposed to meet the affected persons, those who consume the products and complain of some form of ailment. How serious actually was the situation?
We are trying our best to ascertain whether really it's part of the investigation to really ascertain whether really the product that were the oil that expired is really the cause of the problem, and which hospital the persons who claim to be affected went to. So we are trying to understand really the story properly before we jump. We don't want to just jump into conclusion and say just because somebody has said it's your oil, we assume it's the oil and we'll just go forward. And so we are having.
So you talk of claims, so to say that there's some level of doubt in that report. But where the products actually expired, has that been established? The truth be told, on the 28th of August, those boxes of some quantity of Obapa oil within the stores of NADMO expired on the 28th of August 2018. And the administrative procedure, we just can't say because the item is expired on the 28th of August, the store manager will just carry them and go and throw them in the refuse dump. That has been established, but I'm finding out. Were they distributed? And I'll say from what our store manager tells us, six bottles six boxes out of it mixed up with the items that were distributed. So certainly they were distributed. So they were distributed. Well, so I would want to quickly then find out from you, with all that you've heard and all that is going on, would you say NADMO is embarrassed by this, considering that the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was also involved?
We certainly are embarrassed as an organization. It is not the best, considering the fact that the good work we've done over the weeks, considering the possible disaster that could have happened in the north and the way our team went there to avert and give support to the people. It's unfortunate, and we've apologized and we are apologizing to the office of the Vice President for all of this. But officially, we would finish the investigation and properly express and do what is right as an agency and make sure all those who matter, who played a role in this embarrassment would be dealt with.
We are grateful for your time. That's the Deputy Director General of NADMO, Abu Ramadan. Let's quickly speak to our correspondent in the region, Rafiq Salam, who has been interacting with some of these, residents who claim they are suffering some form of ailment after consuming the expired products. Rafiq, so what is actually the condition of these persons, and how do we know that they are suffering these ailments because of the products they consumed?
Yeah, I went to Shakafotu this afternoon. I spoke to two of the victims who allegedly consumed the items, and they told me that they were now feeling better, and that after they went to the hospital, let me talk about the 46-year-old man that we spoke to earlier. He said that he and his 4 children who had a stomach upset and then went to the hospital were treated and discharged, and for now he's not feeling anything. And so, there were 6 people involved.
So 6 persons in all.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're grateful. That's Rafiq Salam there, a reporter in the Upper West region that brought to our attention this situation. It's still News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. From one disaster issue, let's head to the Keta municipality of the Volta region, where residents of Jita and Fuvuma have been displaced by tidal waves that swept through the communities recently. Properties, including homes, were hit by the raging sea waves last week. Residents have called on authorities to to come to their aid as the situation is getting out of hand. Ivy Setoji is monitoring the situation and joins us on the line. So Ivy will join us shortly and to bring us up to speed on the situation there. Now, away from that, former Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi is fighting off claims the former NDC government failed to do due diligence on the 5,000 units affordable housing project at Saglemi in the Greater Accra region after paying almost 90% of the contract sum. Deputy Works and Housing Minister Frida Prempeh says it has found evidence of shoddy work and potential corruption in the contract. Former President John Mahama commissioned the first phase of the project in June 2016, you recall. But the ministry says the contractors have only completed less than 500 of the 1,500 units required for the first phase, although they've already been paid up to 98% of the contract sum. The units, which cost $200 million, have remained unoccupied since then. She's been speaking to my colleague Evans Mensah.
They contracted OAS to put up 5,000 affordable houses at the cost of 200 million. That was in 2014. We're hoping that by 2 years' time we'll be able to complete. Somewhere along the line, they met and reduced the scope of works from 5,000 to 1,400 and 1,504 at the same amount of 200 million. They further reduced it to 1,408 at the same amount, then further reduced it to 1,204. The last time I met with the contractors, I asked them if the NACOFAD wants to commission Saglemi affordable houses, how many can you offer us? And they were talking about 442. So out of what? Out of the so-called 1,020 for not even the 5,000. Meanwhile, they've been paid 98.7% of the total amount of money, which runs into 198 million plus. So we are still working on this Saglemi issue. My boss is a lawyer and he wouldn't want to put his neck into something that he doesn't really understand. You know, we can't even find documents to all these things. I had to go the extra mile to Bank of Ghana, to Ministry of Finance.
I mean, there are no documents to cover all the amounts you paid?
Some scanty documents. You know, the last time we met with some of the contractors and their delegation, one of them asked me where I got a particular document from. And my boss was like, you signed the document, so don't ask her where she got the document from. So we had to put together some sort of documentation. We are still working on it, and I believe at the right time we'll let the press and the whole Ghana know what is actually going on with Saglemi.
I'm sure you've seen the beautiful pictures of Saglemi that have been circulating on social media and how it looked complete. It's been painted and etc. and that's ready for occupancy.
442 may look complete and painted. Well, all the when you hold the rails, it comes off. You know, there's so many things associated with Saglemi. Even the burglar proof.
You're talking about shoddy job done.
Sort of, because when I confronted the contractor why they used that particular burglar proof, he said, well, it was approved by the consultant. So I asked him, so he used it because it was approved, but you know very well that it's not the best. You know, so there are so many issues associated.
So questions of value for money are coming up on this.
Definitely.
But the outgone minister, or the former minister, is still around. I mean, what has been your level of engagement with him? What are you finding out from him? What responses are you getting from him?
Well, I think my minister is engaging him on that score, and at the appropriate time will come out. Definitely, I am not going to allow things to go as it is now. We'll find.
So you heard that the Deputy Works and Housing Minister speaking to my colleague Evans Mensah on the Saglemi affordable housing issues. Now, the former NDC government is disputing the claim. Former Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi joins us on the line. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Ahi, here on Newsnight. So 98% of the amount was paid to the contractor. We have no or scanty documents to cover the payment. How come?
Thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. I was a former deputy minister, not the minister.
Thank you very much for the correction. I beg your pardon.
I think that it is unfortunate in this country that we have ministers in this government, some ministers in this government, who are only interested in president life, in about former ministers or past government. My sister, this was a project that the facility went to Parliament for parliamentary approval. And so it would be extremely strange for anybody to think that originally the project was to do 5,000 housing units and a minister will reduce it in spite of the fact that everything got approval by Parliament or provided approval by Parliament, will reduce it from 5,000 to 1,500. And again, he reduced it from 1,500 to 1,004, and again from 1,004 to 1,003 as alluded by the Deputy Minister. It is unfortunate. If he doesn't understand the whole thing, I think that he should rather go and then look for the appropriate information about the whole project.
Okay, so you have the opportunity. If the Deputy Minister you're saying does not understand, let us understand. At the time you left office, how many of the units had been completed?
At the time we left office, about 1,432 had been completed, and the remaining were at the various stages of completion. Some at the footing, some at the window level, some at roofing level. The rest of 1,432 were completed.
But we are told that less than 500 has been completed, yet you pay the contractor 98%. And the ones that are completed, even those ones, it was a shoddy work done.
Has he got that technical eye to determine what works constitute quality or not? Look.
She's the Deputy Minister. Please, I'm sure she has technical persons who must have given them the information.
But she mentioned that she dealt with the contractor. But as a government ministry, we engage an agent working as consultant, which was also a government institution, AESL, represented the interests of government. So when you have a deputy minister who doesn't want to deal with the consultant, but dealing with a private person, then that is a problem. If you want any document, any information about Saglemi, why are you leaving the AESL consultant who was engaged by the government to represent their interests, and they rather go for the businessman? It doesn't make sense. Look, she is talking about quality. Let me tell you that on the 2nd May 2017, the minister himself, Honorable Atachia, visited the site and he commended highly the quality work done at Saglemi site. So, after the minister has visited the place, 2nd May 2017, commended highly the quality work. Today, because the government, rather not to recognize the good work by former President Mahama, leaves the whole project to decay.
But you're telling me, you just said...
Can I finish?
Please hurry with that.
When the public is getting angry about the fact that such a laudable project is not receiving attention by the government, the only thing she can say is that we spent close to $200 million to do 400. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? Go to the site and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You will realize how many units have been fully completed.
So if you knew that you had more than 500 units at least completed, how come they were left unoccupied before you left office?
If the contractor has not completed work and handed over to you, how will you go and sell it?
But you just told me that they were completed as at the time you were leaving office.
I didn't tell you we completed. I said that when we were leaving office, about 1,400 plus were completed. The rest were at various stages. And
okay, so the 1,400 plus that were completed. Take your time, Mr. Samsinahi. Take your time, Mr. Samsinahi. I need clarification, Mr. Samsinahi. We're all listening to you. We need answers. So you just said that 1,400 plus were completed, and others at the various stages of completion. So those that were completed, even if it is 5 of them, how come they were not occupied?
That was not we were to do 1,502. You have not completed the entire project. So you tell me that you go and start selling. If you did 200, you go and sell it. If you did 300, you go and sell it. No, that was not the understanding. The actual contract was to be completed by 31st March 2016. By February 2016, the contractor wrote to us that they couldn't complete the entire project because of technicalities. So we granted them extension to complete the project by December 2016.
So at your last check, Mr. Ahi, I'm sure that you still have your eyes out there. At your last check, do you think that these units that were completed, they are habitable? Would you say?
Of course, because there is even a report by the consultant to the ministry, and that's why I'm surprised Freda is behaving this way. By the time we left office, 2024 had already been completed, which were all habitable.
Okay, now she's demanding. Finish, Mr. Ahi, finish.
388 were completed externally. They were left with some interior works to be completed. And as I said, the rest were at the various stages. And so, because of the extension that we granted for the contractor to complete the entire project by December, and by December, after the elections, we prepared our handing notes. We handed everything to them.
But we are told there are no documents to cover it. They are still looking for the documents. And you're saying you properly handed over?
That is a lie. It is not true. This is, are you saying that I took the documents away? Or my minister took the documents away? No. This is a public institution. If you want the document today, I've told you that the consultant to the project is or was AESL.
Okay.
Which is an agency under Western Housing Ministry.
Well, you said that. Briefly, my final question to you. She's demanding a probe. Are you ready for it? Would you cooperate?
Must it take them 2 years to do the probing? They have delayed. If they don't understand anything, Kolonzada, who started the project, is alive.
Okay, so amongst others too, she's proposing that the government is set to roll out a one district, one housing project after signing a $5 billion affordable housing deal with the United Nations on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Welcome news.
This is the first time I'm hearing UN is granting loan. I don't know whether UN grants loans to government. So I don't believe it. I don't know what she's talking about. UN granting loans to the government of Ghana. This is the first time I'm hearing that UN as an institution is granting loans to do housing.
We're grateful for your time. That's the Deputy Works and Housing Minister, former Deputy Works and Housing Minister, Samson Ahi. But we can hear Madam Freda Prempeh on that.
Well, it's a dream come true. I've been following up together with their local partners on the United Nations Operations Office for a long time. One of our mandates is to ensure that we provide affordable houses for the good people of Ghana. They are going to sink a hoping sum of $5 billion into this housing project. Government is not going to pay a dime on it. They're going to pre-finance the project. Our mandates or our part of the deal is only to provide land. We are hoping that within the space of 2 to 3 years, they'll be able to put up the 100,000.
We've heard about it's going to be a social housing, but in real terms, how are you defining that? In cost, for example, for the ordinary Ghanaian, what cost range are we looking at for the housing to build?
Cost, I can't talk about cost because it depends on so many factors. It depends on location, it depends on the kind of materials you're going to use and all that. As a ministry, we want to leave any legacy. We want to make sure that we're able to complete the affordable houses that was started by before, and we're also able to initiate new projects within the system.
And this is going to be across the country. This is not going to be only Accra centered.
Yeah, I told Nana that we're also looking forward to a situation where we have one district, one housing project. So we've asked all the members of parliament to submit to our ministry if they have access to parcels of land in their communities with all the documents from the traditional authorities and all that. We don't want to have any litigation on land. So far the response has been very good, and even the members of parliament are sitting on our neck asking us when we're going to start. So we're going to narrow some of these things into the UNOP projects.
Frida Prempeh is Deputy Works and Housing Minister. You're still listening to Newsnight. Still to come, President Akufo-Addo defends Ghana's newfound interest in China for growth and development, saying previous parts yielded little or no results.
It is also not lost on us that a lot of anxiety is being expressed about the possibility of a recolonization of the African continent by a new power. It is obvious to us that the development trajectory we have been on for many decades is not working. We're trying a different one.
We hear excerpts from the President's UN address earlier today. We also have fact-checking, and former President Mahama caught support of NDC party faithful in Central Region as he promises a new leadership under a future NDC government.
Enyoma enye easy. And so Nyamiadom NDC Esaba Ombehu Abambo difference. Every say you shall send him Puntunjuma.
We'll also get to hear from his contender, Eko Spiogabra, who is predicting landslide defeats for all the other contenders.
There's actually a tsunami that is blowing through the party from the grassroots all the way through the branches, the constituencies, and the regional elections that have taken place so far. It's not a hurricane, it's not a tornado, it's not a whirlwind, it's a tsunami. It's a very big thing.
We'll get to hear details later on after business. Is there a tsunami in business?
Well, a lot of things are happening in business. Panic withdrawals, the fact that some of these companies or these financial institutions are struggling to pay the deposits, the investments of some of their customers. And I'll be getting you more details on that. And the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has admitted that this recent tax adjustment could bring about some challenges. But the fact is that things are going to normalize very soon. We'll also be hearing from the owner of investment firm Gold Coast, Dr. Parker Sinjum, on challenges in payments of customers' investments. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, and the Mark Auto Parts distributors of Chevy cars.
In this part of the world, we rise early, way before the sunrise. We plan, we pray, we prep, just so we are a step ahead. We keep the conversations going to stay connected to family, friends, and business. They say, Agrobeswa Ifrianopa, start your day bright with MTN Kokroko. For only 1 Ghana cedi, you can enjoy 400 megabytes of data and 30 minutes of free MTN to MTN calls every day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. everywhere you go. Dial *138# to buy MTN Kokroko bundle now.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, this very moment, it's the pulse of possibility, potential, power. It's time
to make your move,
to take that step.
The time
is now.
Now. The great things you do tomorrow start with the small steps you take right now. So take that step with Old Mutual. Call us on 0302-230-638 and make now count. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. And the indebtedness of state-owned enterprises has reached over 8 billion Ghana cedis as at the end of last year. This was contained in the state ownership report released by the Finance Ministry covering the operations for last year. There is more in this report.
The 8.2 billion cedi debt constituted loans that government granted various state-owned enterprises, as well as those that were guaranteed by the Finance Ministry. The report showed that only a fraction of the debt has been paid by these state-owned enterprises. This development has had serious implications on government finances. This is because should these state institutions fail to pay, the borrowers would fall on governments to pay off the loans. The report also showed that most of these firms have a weak financial position. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta tells Joy Business the development is worrying, especially at a time when government is having challenges with revenue generation.
And that's disappointing. And I think you also realize that the JVCs, the joint venture companies, seem to have done better than that. So it then becomes a fundamental question whether we should begin to dilute interest so that there's more private sector participation in there. But these are also sort of insidious issues that have been there for a long time. So clearly, we've got some way to go in terms of changing the culture and emphasizing. But I think with the new law and the reporting that is now being structured, we'll move in that direction.
Most of these state-owned enterprises are also failing when it comes to financial reporting and payment of dividends to government. The report puts the number of state-owned enterprises at 86, with 45 wholly owned by government.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has admitted that recent tax reviews would indeed bring about some spikes in prices of goods and services. Now, this follows the decision of beverage firms to increase the prices of their products as a result of the recent changes to VAT calculations, the city's depreciation, and increase in cost of production. However, tells Joy Business this challenge will be over soon. Now, this is based on some measures the government is instituting to help deal with the situation.
It's always a balance, and a shock is a big word for you. So it comes with a balance, and we will walk that rope.
What do you mean? Because it's going to impact the economy. Prices are going up as well.
Yeah, are we also going to have productivity increasing? We'll see.
It will balance out.
It should balance out.
Thank you. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, now owner of investment firm Gold Coast, Dr. Parkwesi Njum, has assured that he should be able to pay out investments of his customers from next month. Now, this follows challenges in paying customers who are trying to redeem their investment from Gold Coast. Now, this has resulted in some nasty developments at the offices of these firms or in the metropolis. Dr. Parkwesi Njum tells Joy Business the challenge would actually be over, but they actually attributes it to panic withdrawals.
And I've been telling people that when somebody gives money to a coast fund management or GN Bank for that matter, that's money. A lot of the funds go for medium-term, long-term durations. So if 10%, 15%, 20% of the people all of a sudden decide to come for their money, then there's a problem. There's a liquidity problem. That is the issue that we are all facing, particularly the indigenous firms. And so what I have been doing, what our management and directors have been doing, is to look for liquidity from wherever we can get it. And that is one of the reasons why I'm speaking to you from Washington, D.C. today. And it is my hope that we are going to be able, starting next week, to deal with any of the issues that come up. However, none of us can deal with panic withdrawals. And that is what we are all trying to avoid. Luckily for Gold Coast, we also have funded or pre-financed a number of government infrastructure projects, and payments have started to come in a week ago, this week, and will continue.
And that's the owner of investment firm Gold Coast, Dr. Parkwesi Njum. Now, Zenith Bank has ruled out acquiring another bank as a growth strategy. The bank was one of the first financial institutions that is said to have met the new capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis as a result of some prudent management of its resources. But it was looking at the intense competition in the industry. It was believed that the bank could have considered merging with another bank as a growth strategy. But speaking to Joy Business after being presented with a certification on secured systems by ISO Managing Director Henry Owo tells Joy Business they want to focus on organic growth for now.
We have, as a strategy, believe in organic growth, as a group. That means grow yourself, multiply yourself by yourself. Don't change your DNA. Once you do M&A, there are chances that you dilute your DNA and you have systemic issues. So for that reason, it's not always the first option. We'll continue to pursue our traditional organic growth strategy and take it from there. That notwithstanding, if we see good opportunities, why not? We can always look at it. As it is, 2 months of the time, there's no discussion like that on the table. So we believe that we can grow by ourselves organically as much as we want to grow. But again, you don't shut the door.
The bank has been attributing the bank's sterling performance over the past 13 years to commitment to prudent management of its resources. Now, Bank of Ghana has put the number of licensed savings and loans companies at 37. Now, this was contained in an official list of licensed deposit-taking firms in the country. The report shows that we have 22 finance houses in the country, 2 leasing firms, and 2 finance and leasing firms in the country. It is not clear for now what might have influenced this publication, especially at the time that the Bank of Ghana says that it is considering to close down some of these savings and loans companies that are having liquidity issues. Now, as Ghana strategized to merge with Ivory Coast in dictating the price of cocoa, the managing director of Cocoa Marketing Company, Joe Forson, says new strategies are actually being worked out to also help in marketing the bean across the world. Let's hear him.
In terms of marketing, we do collaborate a lot with Ivorians now. We speak to them very often. We have a clear visibility in terms of what the 2 countries want to do. There are moves for us to engage our foreign counterparts to challenge the question of falling prices for our farmers and for our countries. So it's an ongoing process, and I think they were here last 2 weeks. There are some communiques that have been done. We're still working on it, and so far the collaboration is going on very well.
Managing Director of Cocoa Marketing Company, Joe Forson, Ghana has secured $10 billion from Oman to help improve road infrastructure in the country. Memorandum of Understanding for this project was signed in Oman between the international organization that is Invest Group and MFRA Group of companies to help with this construction. Dr. Kizito Owusu, Chief Executive of Invest Group.
Without better roads, we cannot sustain our economic development. And most important of our Invest Group, we are a management and investment consulting firm. We attract investments. So when we are able to build our roads, more investors will have the appetite to come into Ghana to develop our country with us. Because when the roads are safe, they feel much safer because they know that when they go anywhere, they will come back.
And that's Dr. Kizito Owusu, Chief Executive of Investi Group. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
It's just an observation that I'm worried about. You visit banks these days and it's virtually empty all the time. What's going on?
The panic withdrawals is real. Whilst you would blame some of the development on panic withdrawals, you also not take away how some of these institutions have managed their resources and their finances and what has influenced their investment decisions. So yes, panic withdrawals is there, right? But some of these institutions haven't managed their funds
and it looks
well,
like people,
and that is why
people are being careful in taking their money to the bank.
And the Bank of Ghana is now saying that for these savings and loans companies, well, those who are in crisis, after their investigation, they've established that some of them, it was their own fault and they didn't manage things, so they're going to allow them to go down.
George, we are filled with the latest from the world of business. Let's head to New York now, because President Akufo-Addo has today defended Ghana's newfound interest in China for growth and development, saying previous paths has been unyielding. President Akufo-Addo turned to world history to allay fears of those entertaining or expressing these fears that dealing with China for infrastructural development might be a trap for recolonization. Listen to President Akufo-Addo addressing the 73rd UN Assembly in the USA.
Ghana, like many countries in Africa, is forging relations with China to make arrangements to help address part of our infrastructure deficit. This is not a uniquely Ghanaian or African phenomenon. It has not been lost on us that the developed, rich and well-established countries have been paying regular visits to China and seeking to open new economic ties and improve upon existing ones. It is also not lost on us that a lot of anxiety is being expressed about the possibility of a recolonization of the African continent by a new power. We should indeed learn from history. It was at the turn of the 20th century that China's first railways were built by Western companies, financed by Western loans to a nearly bankrupt Qing dynasty. And it was under those circumstances that a strategic port called Hong Kong was leased for 99 years. And the rest, as the saying goes, is history. Today, the former victim of Western Railways imperialism is lending billions to countries throughout Africa, Asia, and Europe to construct not only railroads, but also highways, ports, power plants, and other infrastructure, and many businesses. The historical echoes are certainly worrisome, but yes, surely we must and can learn from history. We in Ghana must build roads, bridges, railways, ports, schools, hospitals, and we must create jobs to keep our young people engaged. It is obvious to us that the development trajectory we have been on for many decades is not working. We're trying a different one, and we would appreciate the support and goodwill of the world, especially in helping to stem the huge flow of illicit funds from the continent. It is in everybody's interest that we who are counted amongst the poor of the world make a rapid transformation from poverty to prosperity.
President Akufo-Addo, however, insists Ghana will continue to strive to operate beyond aid.
We're determined in Ghana and increasingly in more and more parts of Africa to chart our own path to prosperity and pay our own way in the world. We're no longer interested in being a burden on others. We will shoulder our own responsibilities and build societies and nations that will be attractive to our youth. We have the necessary sense of enterprise, creativity, innovation, and hard work to engineer this transition. Hence our vision of a Ghana beyond aid, indeed, of an Africa beyond aid.
President Akufo-Addo also took the opportunity to call for reforms in the UN.
Today, as we speak, a trade war is being stoked between the two largest economies of the world. The consequences will affect those who have had no say, including small countries like Ghana. We in Ghana and other parts of the African continent are determined to pull our country out of poverty and into prosperity. We do not think that a nation needs to remain poor or become poor for others to become prosperous. 55% of the work of the Security Council last year had to do with Africa. Unfortunately, this invariably meant peacekeeping and poverty-related issues. We no longer want to be the place that requires peacekeepers and poverty-fighting NGOs, no matter how noble their objectives. Our regional bodies like ECOWAS and our continental body, the AU, are making systematic efforts, despite significant handicaps, to bring peace and stability to the entire continent. And sooner rather than later, they will succeed.
President Akufo-Addo addressing the 73rd UN General Assembly. It's time now for the latest from the world of sports, and Baba Tando is in the studios with the latest. How are you doing, Baba?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. What's in sports?
Okay, so it's 52 days to kick off, and Ghana's fate of hosting the African Women's Championship will be determined this weekend when members of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, meet in Cairo for their extraordinary General Assembly. According to our checks, the inspection team have presented their last report and are currently awaiting a decision from CAF. Ahead of that, though, my colleague Selwyn Saki has visited the El-Wak Stadium, one of the training centers for the tournament, and has the following report.
At the moment, there has been consistent progress being done on this training pitch. This is a training pitch where the teams are going to be trained. Possibly the Ghana team is going to train there, and other African Cup of Nations teams that will be coming here for the Women's Championship. Now, we can also see that there are barricades that have been put in here to make sure that people don't come on this field to disturb the nature of the pitch. It's looking greener than usual. The rains are also coming on, making it in a good state. We can tell that at the moment, the team is getting ready, and very soon, Ghana will show the world and Africa that we are ready to host the tournament. This is Selwyn Saki reporting for Joy News at the El-Wak Stadium.
Right, MFA. So there's the EFL Cup, or the Carabao Cup, which unfortunately Manchester has been kicked out of. It's happening tonight. It's continuing tonight. Chelsea or Liverpool?
Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Chelsea and Liverpool will play later, but currently it's Arsenal up against Brentford. 5 minutes into the game, and Arsenal already leads by a goal to nil. Goal was scored by Danny Welbeck right on the 5th minute. Details on the sports page of myjoyonline.com. Sports is done.
Thank you very much, Baba. Now, former President Mahama is promising Ghanaians a new leadership in the governance of the country. According to him, it has become obvious to Ghanaians that the NPP administration led by Nana Akufo-Addo was just a talking bunch with nothing to offer. He says it was a good omen. The party lost, so Ghanaians will be able to experience how bad an NPP government could run the country in order to appreciate what the NDC administration did for the country. He's been speaking in the Central Region on day one of his 4-day tour of the region.
Say easy because election time now me the football and the home and I say yeah football I in ball say your friend is spectators me boy into spectator stands more now who say obi ball now who feel say obi timi abo chain no the tie one no I beka say won bo chain obi and so yeah the okojina park no near the ball no mawa ebia na over the bump went to me ambo and say ye nuanom MPP no mu gina nchen no o mu feel say emre and so and Ghana for the 2 mission almost and one year we.
You heard that former President John Dramani Mahama. My colleague Richard Kujonyako joins us on the line. Richard, quickly translate for us what former President John Mahama has been saying in that clip.
Former President Mahama has been drawing the allusion, and he's been using football, that when football is being played, people who sit as spectators often feel that they can play better than the players that are on the field. And so that is what exactly is happening to the Akufo-Addo administration, that they said a lot of things, but when they were given the mandate, I mean, the Ghanaians are better judges of what they are doing.
Now, we're told that he's been to a number of areas. Can you quickly take us through which areas that he's been to?
Well, also he started from the Ewutu Senya East and then went to Ewutu Senya West, went to Gomoa East and then Gomoa West, and then went to Agona East and Agona West and Gomoa Central. So we are now heading to Ifutu, where he will be addressing party delegates to end the day's tour.
Richard Kujonyako there. Now, he's not the only one who is on a tour. His contender, Ekos Pio Gabra, has also been speaking in Cape Coast, and he says there's a tsunami looming for all flag bearer contenders of the party, including John Dramani Mahama.
The signals are obvious to those who analyze the results of the recent election. There's actually a tsunami that is flowing through the party from the grassroots all the way through the branches, the constituencies, and the regional elections that have taken place so far. It's not a hurricane, it's not a tornado, it's not a whirlwind, it's a tsunami. It's a very big thing because 70 to 80% of all executives that stood in the branch elections that had been there were removed. 80% of constituency executives, old ones, were asked to step aside. And in the regional elections also, if you saw 10 chairmen who went and signed a certain statement supporting one candidate at a certain point, only 2 remain. And even of the 2, the one who won Greater Accra got only 30% of the vote. So 70% voted against him. All these are the statistical signal that show that anybody who is part of the old order does not stand a very good chance. Because if you stay in that position, the tsunami will wipe you out. So that tsunami is going to blow all the way through the national executives and blow through the flag bearership contest. And anybody who was part of the old order, if they don't really assess the situation carefully, they face serious embarrassment.
You heard there, Dr. Ekos Pio Gabra. It's time now for fact checking. Today we are focusing on claims made by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at the launch of the National Policy Forum in Kumasi. Raymond Akwa throws more light on these claims and the verdicts in the following report.
Let's start with the Vice President's claim that interest rates on the 91-day Treasury bills have been declining since 2017.
Interest rates on the 91-day Treasury bills declined from 16.8% in 2016 to 13.3% in December 2017 and now stands at 13.4%.
This is true. The Bank of Ghana's September 21 release summary of macroeconomic and financial data on page 3 details the money market rates for the respective periods. It indeed declined from 16.8% in 2016 to 13.3% in December 2017. He also said the Bank of Ghana has reduced significantly the policy rate.
The Bank of Ghana has reduced very significantly its monetary policy rate from 25.5% by the end of 2016 to 20% by the end of 2017, and it currently stands at 17%.
This is also true. The historical monetary policy report by the Bank of Ghana backs the claim that the MPC decision of November 21, 2016 indeed fixed the policy rate at 25.5%, and in about a year's time, this was reduced to 20%. He then talked about increase in the growth of the agri sector from 2016 to 2017.
Agricultural growth increased from 3% in 2016 to 4.3% in 2017.
The Ghana Statistical Services annual 2017 GDP release stipulates that agricultural sector expanded from 3.0% in 2016 to 8.4% in 2017 and not 4.3%. Its share of DGP, however, reduced from 18.7% to 18.3% within the same period.
That's a fact checking with Raymond Dakwa every Wednesday on Joy News here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's time now for Flip Side here on Newsnight. And some of them, some of you call them child actors, just because of their petite nature. Well, one of them, Don Little, has been sharing or speaking to us. He starred in Funny Faces, Cow and Chicken. I'm sure you recall. You know him by now. He's been speaking about the economy. You'd want to hear him.
Oh, like if you want to, if you go and buy animal and you want to word the animal, you will not go buy the big animal. You will start from the small one, so that he will follow your steps, or he will listen to what you speak to him, or yeah. So we have to take this thing and you advise and be, so that the country will go on. Because Ghana, we will be standing there, Ghana be you, Ghana be when the bank, you see. Because Ghana, we have everything. I say it me but still, and we have the money. I say Niska, we have money. At then, yen penny for, sebi. Omo purchase omo to coin. Omo development other countries na. Oh, and now ya make jam in Dubia, ya say yen penny for. When there's a more shamra, Nipana Fuma, more than a famra, Quanso. They're very bad. That's
Don Little, his words of wisdom there. Some would ask, and that's it for Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Strong and Sassy with Na Shoko is up next. Do stay. Have a good evening.
Martha Quay did what I thought was most ignoble. I'd known Martha Quay as a very disciplined person, as a person who was not a liar, not a thief, a man who commanded a lot of respect, a very dedicated person. And for him to have been engaged in the misuse of soldiers, to do what he did when we came into office.
Sir, with respect, if I could draw you back.
Don't. I'm building it up.
Who Killed the Judges? A Joy News special assignment on crimes that shook the nation. Tuesday, 2nd October 2018 on Joy News TV, Joy FM, at Dom TV, at Dom FM, and online at